Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday School. We're doing it a little different this morning. This young couple up here are here to share with us a little bit about where they come from.
Welcome to Sunday School.
I have known them. They
We're
are the
doing
only
it a little
people
different this
in this
morning.
whole world that I have known
This
my whole life.
young couple up here
They're
here
my
to share
parents, and
with us
I
a
love
little
them
bit about
where
morning
they
every
come
time
from. And I'm
Welcome
so
to
proud of
Sunday
them
School. I
and
have
all that they've
They are
done.
doing it a little different
And
this
they
morning.
spent more
I
than
have
40
known my
years
whole
in
life. Young couple up here
Southern Africa, teaching and preaching,
are
and
here
they're my
to share
parents, and loving the
with us a
people
little
there.
bit about
And
they
were
I'm
so
so
involved
proud
with
of
the
them
culture
and all
there.
that
They
they've
learned the
done.
languages that the people spoke. And so they're going to share some of that with us today. Dad's going to speak the African languages and loving the people there. They're speaking Sotho. They were so involved with the culture there. They learned the languages, a little bit about what they do. And so they're going to share some of that with us today. Sunday school offering. Dad's going to speak something to give their Sunday school offering. We'll do that. I'm going to pray and they will get going. So, dear Jesus, I thank you for being here with us this morning, and I thank you for all that you do for each one of us and what has brought us here. And I just pray that you're going to bless this time that we're together. Open our hearts. We'll do that. I'm going to pray and way that's different than yours. And I, dear Jesus, I thank you for being here with us this morning. And I thank you for all that you do for each one of us and what has brought us here. And I just pray that you're going to bless this time that we're together. Open our hearts. Do that. I'm going to pray and way that's different than yours. And I, dear Jesus, I thank you for being here with us this morning. And I thank you for all that
Bella.
and what has brought us here. And I just pray that you're going to bless this time that we're together. Open our hearts. Do that. I'm going to pray and way that's different than yours. And I, dear Jesus, I thank you for being here with us
We
this
come
morning.
from South Africa,
Bella.
And I just pray
and
that
we
you're
are
going to bless
speaking
this
to you in one of our languages.
Open our hearts. Do that. I'm going to pray and way that's
Our people there in South Africa,
Bella.
they know how to pray. And they are very happy that God answers their prayers. Our people there in South Africa
Bella.
know how to pray. You many ways in which God has answered their prayers. And they are very happy that God answers their prayers. Missionaries who visited a church in Swaziland how to pray. You many ways in which God has answered their prayers. The pastors are very happy that God and they greeted one another. Missionaries, how are you visited a church in Swaziland how the pastors said, oh, okay, there's no problem. But there is one little problem. We are killed by the rats. There are many rats in our home, and they eat our food, and at night they nibble on our toes. The missionary said, well, maybe you need to get a cat. And he said, no, missionary, there aren't any cats available in this area. Our people eat cats.
a ke tsebeng ka le thusa bjang ke tlo thuša le ne lena go rapela.
The missionary said, well, I don't know how to help you, but I'll pray for you.
Gomme o tlogile
He went.
goba morago ga mengwaga e mebedi a boela a etela kereke yona yeo.
And after about 2 years, he came back to visit that church.
Gomme ge a batamela ntlo ya modiši a makala gagolo.
When he got near to the pastor's house, he was very surprised.
A bona go tletse dikatse.
He saw there were cats everywhere.
Mo lapeng go na le dikatse godimo ga tlhaka le mo ntlong kae le kae go tletse dikatse.
Everywhere he looked, on the roof of the house and in the house and in the yard, there were cats everywhere.
Ele a tsena ba dumedišana.
And he went in and they greeted one another.
Gomme modiši a re ai modimo o fetotše thapelo ya rena.
The pastor said, oh, God has answered our prayer.
Ka tšatši le re be re rapela ka taba ya dipeba.
Back in the days when we saw you before, we were praying about the rats.
Gomme modimo o fetotše.
God answered prayer.
Ka mantšiboa tšatši le lengwe ra lebelela thabeng mo ra bona phoofolo e nyane ya fologa gona.
One day we were looking up in the mountain and we saw a little animal coming down the mountain.
Ya fologa ya batamela ya fitlha gona mo motseng wa rena.
It came slowly down the mountain and came straight to our house.
E bile katse.
It was a cat.
A bo re tsebile o re modimo o re rometse katse.
God had answered our prayer and sent us a cat.
Ao ra e boloka ke mpho ya modimo.
And we took very good care of it. It was a gift from God.
Gomme ka moragonyana ka nnete dipeba di fedišitšwe.
And now, after that, the rats have disappeared.
Gomme dikatsenyane di tlile.
And then the cat had kittens.
Jale moruti a re go modiši o ka re bjale le na le tshwenyego e nngwe gape bjale.
The missionary said to the pastor, well, it seems like you maybe have another problem
Le
now.
bolawa ke dikatse.
Now you are killed by the cats.
O kaone le tloše dikatse tše dingwe.
Maybe you need to get rid of some of these cats.
Aowa modimo dikatse tše ka moka ga tšona ke dimpho tša modimo.
No, missionary, we can't do that because these cats are a gift from God.
Re a di boloka ka moka ga tšona ke dimpho tša modimo.
We take care of every one of them. They are God's gift.
Jale ke nyaka le botša ka Isaka Mantlate.
I want to tell you about Isaac Mantlat.
O be a tšwa lefaseng la Mozambique.
He comes from the country of Mozambique.
Gomme o be a tlogela gae a ya Gauteng go bereka dimaneng tša Gauta.
He left his home and went to South Africa, to Johannesburg, to work in the gold mines.
Gona mo a kopane le Manazarene
And there he met the Nazarenes.
a sokologa
He repented.
a ba modimedi o lokilego o tshepegilego.
He became a very strong, faithful Christian.
Gore ga wa nako e be le nako ya go ya go boela gae.
After a while, it was time for him to go back to his home.
Mme letšatši lona leo ge a fitlhela gona mo gae e be le nako ya modiši ya ngaka go etela legae la bone go šegofatša le gae.
And when he arrived back home in Mozambique, it was the time of the year when the witch doctor came and visited their home and blessed the home and all all the people living there.
Gomme ngaka a lokela mashila leshile le lengwe le lengwe go emela e mongwe le mongwe mo gae.
And the witch doctor laid out cloths. There was one to represent each of the people in the home.
Abia a thomo go shegofatša mashila ao.
And he began to bless those cloths.
Yale e saka a re go papa a ya go papa go ya re a papa ka se sa tsena ditabeng tše bjang.
Isaac said to his father, "Father, I can't be involved in
A
this
ke o
matter.
ntshwarele.
Please forgive me.
Bone ke sokologile ke modumedi bjang.
I've repented and I'm a Christian now."
Hai papa o kwatile kudu ka.
His father was very, very angry.
Ke nnete gore o modumedi bjang.
He said, "Are you really a Christian now?"
Papa ntshwarele.
I said, "Yes, Father, please forgive me."
Tatagwe a re ge go le bjalo awa o kwatile a re nka se kgone ga o kgonege gore memoya e mebedi e dule go tee mo motseng mo.
His father became very angry and he said, "If that's true, there's not room for two spirits in this home."
Mme ka nnete e saka a ya le mosadi wa gagwe le lapa ba tloga.
So Isaac took his wife and family and went on their way.
A ya gole ditlhogeng
They went way out in the bush
go poleke e bitswago Chipatja.
to a place called Chipacha.
Gone mo ba aga motse o moswa wa bona.
And so they built a new home there.
Gone mo o be a kopana le moruti wa mathomo wa Monazarene mo moseng moruti Jenkins.
There he met one of the first missionaries there of the Church of the Nazarene, missionary Jenkins.
Gomme ka kgothatso ya moruti Jenkins a leka go thomiša kereke.
And so with the encouragement of Reverend Jenkins, he began to try to build a new church
E be le
there.
bothata.
It was difficult.
Batho ga ba sekologo.
Some people began to repent,
A ba se ba bantši.
but not very many.
Ka gonyane ba se ba kae ba sekologile.
Little by little, a few here and a few there repented.
Gomme ka morago ga mengwaga e se mekae ka bo 1930
After a couple of years in 1930,
ka go be go na le phuthegonyana.
there was a little congregation there.
Be ka tšatši le lengwe ge ba ka Sontaga ge ba kopana o khonamela batho ka moka ba tlile mo kerekeng.
One Sunday when they gathered to worship, there were people that came by the church.
Ba re tlang le re thuše go rata ditšie di tlile.
And they said, "Come and help us. The locusts have arrived and we need to chase them away."
Mme ka nnete ditšie di tlile ka nnete letšatši la fifala di tlile ka diketekete.
And truly, there were many flocks of locusts came, and they just covered the place so that the sun was dimmed and they could hardly see.
Ya fologa gona moo.
And they came down in that area.
Ya thoma go ja ka moka ke tala.
And everything was dark.
No,
And they ate all of the green things in the area.
nna ke a tseba taba eo, nnete ya taba eo.
Now, I know about this sort of thing.
Ge ke be ke le ngwana ka mehla yona eo ke be ke le ngwana go ditšea di fihlile ka mokgwa wo mo ke be ke dula gona.
When I was a little kid, a missionary kid, one time I remember the locusts came where we lived.
Gomme ka nnete go be go swane le lefifi.
It was like it was dark at night, although it was daytime.
Gomme di fologile gona mo masimong.
They came down there on the gardens and the fields.
Gomme ka kopana le masogana a mangwe a maso ra tšea masaka.
I went out with a bunch of the African boys, and we had bags, and we broke branches off the trees, and we had these bags, and we pushed these locusts into the bags.
Gomme mantšiboa ka letšatši ke ile le bona motseng wa modiši o motho gona.
That evening, I went with these boys to the pastor's house.
Gomme gona mo ra tšea e be le tše kgolo tše ka.
And so these locusts were that long.
Gomme di be di fofa bjalo ka dinonyana.
And they flew, and it was like birds flying.
Gomme ra tšea ditšea ra tšea di fofa ra ntšha tša ka gare.
And we took these locusts and we pulled off their wings and their skin, and we squeezed them
Ra ntšha tša ka gare.
and took out all the insides,
Ra di bea makaleng, ra di beša.
and we put them on the fire and ate them, roasted them. They were very delicious.
Ka nnete ka mokgwa wo ditšea di fihlile letšatši le tlo tšhepatša.
And so the locusts came to Chipacha just like that on this day.
Gomme moruti o tsebile gore o ka se thuše selo o ka se kgone go raka ditšea.
And the pastor knew they couldn't do anything. There was no way they could get rid of the locusts.
Modimo o tseba masemo a rena.
And he said, God knows about our field,
Rena re khunamela gona mo.
but we're going to worship here.
Jale ba bangwe ba tlogile
Some went away,
go be go šala mo kerekeng ba ba selela.
but there were 6 of them who stayed
Ba šala
and had their meeting.
gomme ba rapela letšatši ka moka.
They prayed all day.
Mme ka nnete ditšea di ile ka moka tše tala.
And truly the locusts ate everything green around.
Mme batho le ge ba lekile go lebaka go be go sa kgonega go lebaka.
And although they had tried to chase them away, there's no way to chase.
Gomme ge ba tloga goseng ba wetse gore ditšea di tlogile fela tsohle tše tala di fedile go be go tše ntsho ka mo gohle.
They went to bed at night and slept, and when they got up in the morning, everything green was gone.
Masimo di ile ka moka.
All of their gardens were eaten up.
Fela ba makala mohlolo wo mogolo.
But they were very surprised. There was a miracle.
Ba bona gore masimo a batho ba ba selelago ao le mmogo masimong ba bona gore masimo a bona a be a sa gogate.
And they saw that the gardens of the fields of those 6 men were untouched.
Ao, o ka ba bjalo ke mohlolo.
They said, how can this be? This is truly a miracle.
Mme batho ba kereke ba leboga Modimo ke mohlolo.
And they said, truly, this is a miracle that comes from God.
Go be gona le malepera a dutse gaufi mo thokeng.
There was a group of lepers who lived nearby there.
Malepera a ba botse gore rena re lebeletse bosigo.
And these lepers said, we were watching all night here.
Mme ra bona gore dikete tša magokobo a tla a fologa gona mo masimong ona ao.
And we saw that there were thousands of crows came down on those 6 fields.
A tshireletša masimo ao a thibela gore di selo.
And they took care of those fields and they chased the locusts away.
Ka nnete batho ba makala ka phetolo ya thapelo.
And truly they were amazed at how
Mme ba
God
bangwe ba
had
thomile go
answered
tla
prayer.
kerekeng ba bangwe ba sokologile ka taba.
And because of that, many people began coming to the church and many of them repented.
Kereke e thomile go gola.
And the church began to grow.
Ke ne go le botša ka Frank Mnina.
I want to tell you about Frank and Nina.
Jale re be re mo rutiša sekolong sa Berotabo 1961-62 kwa Tshwateng.
We taught him in the Bible College in Swaziland in 1961 and 62.
O ne a ba modiši a ba moetela a ba mookamedi wa selete
He was a district superintendent after that
kwa Afrika Borwa.
in South Africa.
Gomme morago ga gona o lišitše mošomo a tšea pension.
After that, he retired and went on pension.
Fela le go le bjalo o be a sa diše kereke e nyane.
But he still continued to pastor a small church.
Gomme o be a na le motor e lobilego.
He had a good car,
Gomme ka tšatši le lengwe ge ba tloga ba bona gore motor e di segona.
but one day he woke up in the morning and his car wasn't there.
E be o tswitše bošego.
It had been stolen overnight.
Ao ba swabile kudu.
They were very sad.
O ya hloka motor ye go hlokomela mošomo wa Modimo gona.
He needed that car to take care of God's work.
Phutego e thomile go rapela gore Modimo a ke o buše motor yeo.
And so the congregation began to pray that God would return the car to them.
Ra gore awa o kaone re rapelela lesela le.
But Reverend Amina said, no, it's better if we pray for the thief,
La sekologa.
that he would repent.
Ka nnete ba thomile go rapelela lesela le.
And so they began to pray for the thief.
Mme ka morago ga mabeke a se makae e be le ka tšatši la August 3.
After some weeks, on August the 3rd,
Ka 1993.
in 1993,
Ba tsoga ba makala go bona motor ya moruti e buile.
they saw the car of the mission and the pastor had returned.
Ao
They were very
Ke
surprised. It was a miracle.
gomme ba e lebelela a e be lokile.
And they looked at it, it was fine.
E be na le maoto a maswa a mane.
It had 4 new tires.
Budile levat
They opened the door.
and kamoka go be go lokile ka gare.
Everything was fine.
Ba hwetša pampiri
There was a paper there.
mo go ngwadilwe ka Sezulu
It was written in the Zulu language.
go thwe ntshwarele moruti.
Said, please forgive me, Pastor.
Ke kwa bohloko gagolo.
I feel very sorry.
Go tloga letšatši la ge ke botsitse motswego motho e lekilego ke hloka khutšo.
Ever since I have stolen this car from a good man, I have had no peace.
Jale ke a e buša a ke ntshwarele moruti.
And so I'm bringing it back. Please forgive me.
Modimo a le dumedise.
May God bless you.
Jale gantši modimo o fetole dithapelo tse bjalo.
Often God answers prayers in this way.
Go be go na le thapelo e kgolo gagolo batho ba gešo ba be rapelela mengwaga e mentši.
But there's one thing that our people prayed about for many, many years.
Ba be ba rapela baagišane ba rena ba bantši ba sekologe.
They prayed that their neighbors would repent and become Christians.
Mengwaga e mentši go se bjalo ba se ba ka etela ba sekologe.
For many years, little by little, just a few here and a few there repented.
Fela phetolo e tla gone bjale ya thapelo yona yeo.
The answer to that prayer has been coming the last few days, a few years.
Mengwaga yona yeo ao ka nnete go bjalo batho ba diketekete baagišane ba rena ba sekologa.
But in the last few years, thousands of the neighbors of these people have repented.
Go fetela gone bjale kwa Afrika
Until now in Africa,
palo ya Manazarene ke e feta 500,000.
the number of Nazarenes is over 500,000.
Ke a tshepa gore lena le rapela la thapelo yona eo.
And I'm sure you are praying that prayer also.
Gore le bone baagišane ba rena ba bantši ba sekologa gona moo.
That we see our neighbors here repenting.
Le ge thapelo a di bone e fetole gabotse.
Although we don't see answers to that prayer,
A re kgotlelela
let's continue
a
to
re
pray.
tšwela pele go rapelela thapelo gone modimo wa bona Afrika ke modimo wa rena o tlo fetola.
And let's just keep on praying, because the same God that answered this prayer in Africa can answer it here also.
Ke a leboga
Thank you very much.
modimo a le sofa.
May God bless you.
Who did you understand the best? Yes. Okay, they're going to come down, but does anybody have any questions? We have about a little bit of time. Yes.
Yeah, what was your relation? I know where it was telling me that you had a relative that married, what was his name, the early missionary to Africa. You had a relative. I'm trying to think.
This is my relative. I was born in Africa.
This is our daughter.
My parents and my grandparents were missionaries in Africa.
Okay, but you married another or somebody in your relatives, we understand married another, I'm trying to think of his
church there. We were just very good friends.
My parents were Nazarene missionaries. I was born in South Africa. I grew up there. We spent 42 years as missionaries.
Did you know Harmon Stanislav?
Oh yes, very well. Well, not the first one. We worked with his son Elmer for many years, and we knew his grandson Harmon very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, we knew them very well. And we worked for years with Elmer. He was a wonderful missionary. And we knew Harmon very well. Well, I'll tell you, when I was in school, I went to an English school, but we did study Afrikaans, the Dutch language down there, just the grammar. When I was in high school, I was in boarding school for 3 years, and in the residence, there were 120 boys, maybe 8 or 10 were English, the rest were all Afrikaans, and they spoke only Afrikaans to us. So the first year, I couldn't speak it, I couldn't understand it hardly. We'd been 2 years over here on furlough, so I really struggled that first year. I struggled, but I learned it. I had to. I would read an Afrikaans book every week from the library. I'd sit at the back of the class and read with a dictionary. And when I would cover a word I didn't know, I'd look it up. The teachers would see me, but they didn't mind. And I learned it.
How do you say God bless you?
Ma God I seën. Mag God u seën. Mag God u seën. Udimo hali shofati in Sesotho. Kosi inibusise in Zulu. And Shikwembo ashimi katekisa in Shangaan. So I learned Afrikaans in high school, and I've preached in it sometimes since then. I can still speak it. And then as a teenager, out in the bush, I learned Sotho. And that's what we spoke in just here. Pedi or Sotho. That's the language we used mostly. And then my dad used to speak Zulu, and I learned to understand Zulu. And then when we were in Swaziland in 61, 62, we learned Zulu. Both of us learned Zulu. And we've used that. And for the next 20 years, we would teach in Bible school through the medium of Zulu and Sotho. And then in the area where we worked, the main language was Shangaan, the language of Mozambique, and we got so we could use that pretty well and understand it and use it and preach in it a bit. So there's 4 languages, 3 African languages and Afrikaans.
So if a student asked a question, we answered them in whatever language they asked the question.
Oh yeah, we would use all 3 in class. It's no problem. You're just thinking, and it comes out automatically.
Okay, I, on the other hand, did not grow up in South Africa. I grew up on a farm in Michigan, up in the thumb of Michigan. And I chased him halfway around the world and finally caught him in South Africa right after I finished college. And so, anyway, it was a good life.
She had a real gift for languages, because when she arrived, I asked the preachers to find me the girls in the churches. There wasn't any work or anything. They just loved to come into the home of one of the missionaries and work for not much. And I said, get a girl from one of the Sotho churches. She came, and she didn't know a word of English, and Margaret didn't know a word of Sotho. And that's how she learned Sotho. And she learned it quickly. And she then, in Swaziland, we both learned Zulu. We got one of the Zulu students to come and sit with us an hour every evening, 6 days a week. And we talked Zulu, and we learned Zulu that year. The next year we taught through the medium of it. So, and she learned Zulu very well, Zulu and Sotho. And Afrika, she never got so she'd speak in Afrikaans much.
She's not allowed to speak
Our
Afrikaans.
girls, our daughters were mean to her.
No, we weren't. She
What?
couldn't speak it because she said words
Well-
that came out wrong and it didn't sound good.
Well, all right. One morning, they were in high school there. They were in high school, and Margaret spoke the name of their high school. It was Brits High School, Britse Hoërskool, Britse Hoërskool. Only she pronounced it Brits Hoërskool, which meant the horse school.
And we didn't go to that kind of a school.
They forbade her to speak anymore. But she got so she understands it very well.
We carried on, my neighbors and I carried on a two-language conversation. They would speak to me in Afrikaans, which I heard perfectly, and I would answer them in English.
But she
And
can
they
speak it a
couldn't
little
hear
bit. But she speaks Sotho, Zulu, and Shangaan very well. And these are entirely different languages there. The three of them are mutually unintelligible.
I just had a picture that mentioned Tutu. Was that Bishop Desmond Tutu one of that time?
No,
No.
But you
Sotho.
No, Sotho.
Yeah, No.
Sotho. Well,
Yeah.
Bishop Tutu was down there.
he was in Zulu.
He was a
Zulu.
Xhosa person, but he was a very fine leader.
Yeah, in Zulu, they have all these different cliques. They have I don't know.
They're like, there are three clicks. I spoke of Frank and Nina, and the word for no is kla, kla, kla. And the word for to apologize is kla, kla.
Any other questions?
Well, that's another.
That's another long story.
Actually, he was married to Kathleen Taylor, who was the granddaughter of great-granddaughter of Hudson Taylor.
I was at Asbury Seminary, and when I married, I did my college in South Africa, and I came over to Asbury Seminary, and I met her, and we were married while I was a student there.
And then she got ill and died. They had come back to Spring Arbor, where I was in Spring Arbor College, which was a Free Methodist college. And so her father was the pastor of the church there. And so after some time, you see, Paul comes from Africa, where they have arranged marriages.
It had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't say this, but she's being mean to me. I was getting desperate. You see, I had a.
So anyway, her father was the pastor of the church there.
The college church.
Of the college church where I was. And so Paul said, could you recommend
Well,
somebody
I'd been in a
to
daze the whole year. I taught school at a country school, and I'd just been in a daze all year while Kathleen was dying.
And so his mother-in-law drew up a list of 3, and my name happened to be at the top of the
Well,
list.
it didn't happen to be. It was. So we had a few dates. Kathleen died in February, and we were the next couple of months. I was busy in school, and she was working, but we would date a bit, and mostly our dates were I'd take her to missionary meetings on the weekends. Anyway, we got acquainted, and then when I left in August to go back to South Africa, and she gave me a goodbye kiss.
Yeah. But then, to go back, I think the reason why they recommended me was because they knew, although I never told him, that I had been called to be a missionary in Africa. And so I had never told him that.
And everybody knew around there, but no one ever bothered to tell me.
Until after he asked me to marry him, then I told him. So.
Now, we carried on correspondence then, and then she had 2 years of college yet to finish. And so when she finished college, she graduated. Then a month later, their parents saw her off in Detroit on a train. She got on a freighter in New York and spent a month on the water, landed in Maputo, Mozambique. My mother and I met her there, and a month later, we were married out in the bush. The Lord's been good to us. It's been a wonderful.
Eating locusts.
Beg pardon?
You talked about eating locusts, and most of us really don't care to do that, but what other indigenous foods can you tell them about?
Well, our staple is cornmeal mush, heavy, thick, very thick cornmeal mush. That's what the Africans eat in South Africa. It's very thick. They eat it with their fingers. And
Dip it in gravy or
take it in gravy or something. And that's wonderful. Beg pardon? Oh, only that one time, I think. I mean, they weren't grasshoppers. They were locusts. They were great big locusts. They weren't little grasshoppers.
I didn't ever eat
They were locusts.
just a sip.
No, that's the only time we ever saw them. They visited us. Back in the 30s, they were swarms of locusts, something like we read in the Bible about, they visited us in South Africa the same way. They just cleared everything out. In fact, my dad, they would come every year, so my dad got a sprayer, and the little locusts, they would lay their seeds, lay their eggs, and when they were little hoppers, he'd spray the fields and get rid of them that way. But they were a real pest for several years. They'd come and wipe everything out. But they've never been back since. That was back in the 30s. Beg pardon?
What are you doing now?
We retired.
Actually, after we retired, we taught for a term at Canadian Nazarene College, it was at that time. And then we went and taught for a year at Southern Nazarene University. And then we went back to Swaziland and taught in the university there for a year. And so we've done quite a bit of that. And then I was the secretary of the Ministerial Studies program on the Iowa district for a while, and Paul was one of the teachers. And we just, today we are just retired and enjoying. We're part of the Gateway Church of the Nazarene in Oskaloosa, Iowa.
Actually, back in 1970s, I studied at the university in Pretoria for my doctorate, and I got a THB there. The reason I needed that is a THD, a doctorate of theology, the same as a PhD in theology. Now, the reason was our college that we taught Bible college most of our lives, and we were teaching giving the degree that we give here, not the degree they give at Mid-America, but the one we were accredited from Canada. Canadian Nazarene College is a year ahead of our colleges here. So the THB from Canada included a year of seminary. And in order to teach that down there, we had to have someone with a doctorate on the staff. So that's why I went ahead and did that. So I got that in 1980. The Lord helped me with that. That was heavy.
My dad also has spent his years of retirement compiling stories of Africans all over the continent of Africa that have been a part of the church growing there, and has done interviews and gotten their stories and put them in print and verified them with the families and everybody given their testimonies, put them all together, and made all of that information available to the African church in Africa, but also to the general church. And some of the missionary books that you read have stories, and they give credit to Paul Dehoff, my dad, because they took the stories, the information that he got from those Africans who helped to spread God's word in Africa. Their stories are told in these missionary books, and it's letting the people know God's used them just like we know that God's used the missionaries that have gone from here to these countries and spread his gospel.
Well, I have it. I have them all updated copies. It's 3 books. They are published in South Africa, but I have electronic copies on a disc. I can give the disc to anybody that wants it.
I'm not a computer whiz, but
Well, it's on a disc.
do you have them in book form?
No, the books are available in South Africa, and the postage is heavy. It takes months or they're not available over here. But they are on computer. I have them on discs.
It sounds real interesting.
Yeah, well, there's 500 of them.
Wow.
That's my big project over here in retirement, is collecting those stories. I've done a tremendous amount of research.
He has. He spent hours and hours. I think Sunday school time is over, and so if you have questions, you can ask them later. But it's time for us to close our Sunday school time and prepare for worship service. And I just thank you all for being here and for your attention, and we'll look forward to what God has for us in the service. Let's have a word of prayer. And Father, I thank you for being with us and helping us to hear what you've done in people's lives over the years in another part of the world. And I thank you for how you work. Just like you worked there all those years ago, you continue to work here. Help us to be faithful to you. Help us to put our trust in you just like that. And help us to see you working in the lives of people around us too. We thank you for Jesus' sake. Amen.